Hello and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm featuring some products from a brand called Wax and Away. Now, I know of Wax and Away. I know James. I've spoken to him a couple of times. He promised me these products as part of a dare. Now, you see, a wee while ago, I was on a live stream on Instagram with my good friend Specky. We were live streaming while talking about a product launch for another brand. I decided to have a few drinks. I drank a bit too much Baileys. I ended up a little bit squiffy. Now, James came into the chat on my live stream and said, I will send you a bunch of stuff if you jump into bed with your missus on the live stream while you're drunk, once she's already told you off for being noisy and is already in a bad mood. So I did. And he had to pay up. And therefore, I have a selection of Wax and Away products. He stuck to his word. He sent me through some bits and pieces. So today I'm going to be trying them out on the car. It has not been washed in months. It is disgusting. And I can't wait to use these and make it look just that little bit nicer. So here she is, the filthy beast. Now the wheels and tires have been sort of cleaned in the last video. If you haven't already seen that, it's certainly worth going and checking out. But I left the bodywork as dirty as possible for this particular video. Yes, this is what happens when you leave the car for months and then drive it in Aberdeenshire in all manner of different types of weather. We've had rain, snow, hail, sleet, sun, yeah, all of these things, which really do beat the car up. You can see there that side panel is awful. The other side is a bit darker because it's still slightly damp from earlier rain, and there was a bit of brighter weather and it managed to dry this side out. You can see there's a fair bit of caked on dirt there just behind the wheel and up around the arch. That's all going to have to come off. Even the headlights are filthy. So the entire car gets a pre-rinse as usual, and you can see just how much dirt I am able to remove just from rinsing the car off. That is why it's so important to do this. Get as much dirt off the car as you can now, so you don't have to fight with it later. It does mean that your wash process is also going to be slightly safer on your paintwork. Once you've given it a rinse off, you can see there that number plate really came up. You'll get a better idea of what the condition of the car is. You can see all the mud that has come running down the driveway there. That has all just been pushed off the car. This hasn't been cleaned yet, but that's all the grime and the grit and the mud and the dirt and the road salt and everything else that has been rinsed off the car. Fantastic. So we're going to use Wax and Away Citrus Pre-Wash. This is a ready-to-use product. And just spray it liberally all over the car and let it eat into the dirt. This is another thing. If you already pre-rinse your car, then the citrus pre-washes will be able to get to the bonded or stickier dirt. And then this is the Snow Foam Plus. Now it does require a stronger dilution than some. It mentions 200 milliliters of snow foam in the lance to 800 milliliters of water. That's quite a strong dilution. But what you'll see here is it's pink. I didn't expect this. I did see it was dark. It was a very dark red in the bottle. But you can see it's very thick here, being delivered through my MJJC Foam Cannon Pro version 2. It really is fantastic. It smells incredible. It's so entertaining to use. There were quite a few people walking down the street that were talking about it. Interestingly enough, they didn't actually talk to me about it, but I could certainly hear a few people saying, "Why is his car pink?" So let this dwell for a while on top of the citrus pre-wash. You can see there, this is real time, this isn't sped up. Slowly dripping off the car. This also goes to show you that the panels are not clean, because any protection that may have been on there would show breaking up of the snow foam. You can also see some of the dirt is being carried away in the foam there. So it's a double whammy here. Citrus pre-wash breaking down some grime, and snow foam pulling it down. And that's what it looks like inside the lens. Very, very dark red. But it's great to use. Thick and pink. It's like strawberry milkshake. I'm pretty sure it smells like strawberry milkshake. Now giving the car another rinse off. I'm using a pressure rinse again because I want to push the dirt that these pre-washes have managed to break down and affect them. I'm pushing that dirt off the paint. I'm not just rinsing it from top to bottom. I am really getting that dirt off the car. And interestingly, the snow foam didn't actually last a long time on the driveway. After 10 minutes of sitting on the car and then rinsing off, it certainly managed to rinse away easily. I wanted to show you this panel here. This panel is hydrophilic, it's holding on to water, and that glass is very slow with the sheeting of water, but there's still some protection there to be sure. We're going to come back to those later on. I also wanted to show the bonnet. The bonnet was actually sitting with flat water when the car was dirty, but after just the pre-rinse stage, these are two different waxes that I had tried in the most recent video. I say most recent, the last video of 2021. These are actually Dodo Juice waxes, and when the car was sitting dirty, any rain that fell just clung to the dirt, and it didn't look like there was any protection of any sort. However, just from rinsing off and then using the pre-wash products, these products started to come back to life. They started to repel water again. The left side is a synthetic wax, the right side is a natural wax. But they're still doing really well, and this goes to show maintenance is key. There's still some beading going on there with both of them. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get over onto the wash process. And here we're using pH neutral shampoo. Now, the instructions say to use 2 capfuls to a bucket. One of my bugbears is that it's another one of these where it doesn't tell you what size of bucket. And I do have nearly 20 liters of water in my bucket here. You can see it's lovely and orange, which is nice. It's one of my favorite colors. It smells really nice. I've put 2 of those in there. You can see it's sinking to the bottom of the bucket, so it will need agitation, and that's coming up. I'm also wearing waterproof gloves here today because it was very, very cold. So then I need to grab the pressure washer, stick that in, and spray to disperse the shampoo into the water, then pull the nozzle out and get some air blown in there. And I wanted to see if it was enough by checking out the thickness of the foam, and I felt like it maybe could have done with being a bit thicker with a bit more shampoo, so I went with an extra capful of shampoo. 1 capful is roughly 10 milliliters, so I've got 30 milliliters in a large bucket here, which is still very economical. Once that's been tipped in, give it another blast to mix it around in the water, and then pull the nozzle out a bit to blast more air in, and then another foam check. Yeah, that's a bit thicker. Happy to give that a try. I also have there a Simonize noodle wash mitt. And washing from the top down, you can see the shampoo is very sudsy. It's got some slickness to it, but it's not overly slick. You can smell the shampoo as you're using it. It is lovely. And those suds, those bubbles, stayed with the wash process right to the very end. So 30 milliliters in a large bucket is plenty. Here you can see just how sudsy this is. I've already washed 1/2 of the car, and it's still coming up exactly like this. The suds are not showing any signs of tailing off. I certainly have used some shampoos in the past where once I get from one side of the car to the other, all the suds are gone. But this was an absolute pleasure to use. Now, rinsing it off gives me a much better idea of whether or not there is still some protection at all kicking around after the wash process. This pH neutral shampoo won't degrade any existing waxes or sealants, and as you can see there, the water repellency is actually now better than it first was just from the pre-wash process. It is looking really lovely and shiny and clean there, but don't be fooled. The panels are still wet and holding on to water. You can see there, it's still hanging on. So once the car gets a dry off, I'm going to hit the car with Ceramic Detailer, a product I've heard good things about. Very nicely misted. It smells fantastic. It really is a fabulous smelling product, this. Ceramic Detailer is a very easy to use. Spray on, wipe over, and buff off. It's almost like spraying water onto the panels. It's a very thin product. It doesn't feel sticky or draggy or streaky or anything like that. Simply wipe it over, get an even coverage onto your panels. And you can see there I've got a second microfiber in my pocket, which is on the plush side of the towel. And it really does need this buff. If you spray and wipe and leave it, it can get a bit streaky, but giving it that buff helps to even out the finish and bring up the shine and gloss. And it really is an absolute pleasure to use. And being that it's a ceramic product, that means that it will contain protection. So as you're doing this after every wash, and it is quite economical because a little goes a long way, but you're adding protection each time. And here what I'm showing is the product on glass, or at least half the window. You remember that panel before, how it was holding on to water? This is the performance just from the Ceramic Detailer alone. Really fantastic water behavior there. Really hydrophobic. Just like a wax or a sealant. Really is excellent. That rear window, if you'll remember it before, it was kind of slow. Now it's really fast with the water repellency. And here's the difference on the side by side on the driver's window. So it works really well on glass. I'm not entirely sure if you should use it on your windscreen, but definitely your side windows, no problem at all. No streaking, no difficulties. Really, really excellent. And as we move to the beauty shots at the very end, I want to thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this content, please give it a like, consider subscribing. You can check out links to the Wax and Away website down in the description box below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you with a nice glossy shiny car.